Hi, welcome everyone.
Welcome. Thank you.
The conference is now in listen-only mode.
Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's Minitab web demo. Sorry for that technical error. So topic today is Minitab Statistical Software 19. Topic is Quality Initiative for Services Industry. So I am Nur Sulawati. I am the Technical Support Specialist at Basic System. Basic System is independent local representation for Minitab product and training in Malaysia and Singapore. Before we get started, I have some housekeeping item. This session is webcast, so maybe we have audio delay. If you cannot hear clearly by speaker, you will be able to dial toll-free number for Malaysia 1800-807-043, for Singapore 8001-011-441. So if you have question during presentation, please type them into the question box in your control panel. You may send any time during presentation, but I will address them during Q&A session at the end of today's session. I will turn on to listen only mode. Once we get started, the voice are the sound for recording purpose. Okay, for your information, this web demo will be recorded and you will be accessed back at our website at www.visits.com. Okay. Minitab was developed in 1972. Minitab is a software package for statistical analysis. It is leading statistical software for quality improvement and statistical. Minitab able to use for everyone, whether you are a statistician or non-statistician. Minitab will be your data analysis partner because have complete set for tools and suitable for all field of analysis. Minitab provide guidance that leads you to the answer. Early of June 2019, Minitab launched the new version, Minitab 19, with the better, faster and easier to help user make better data-driven decision. Minitab offer tools like descriptive statistics and inference statistics. So if let's say you want to do for hypothesis testing, we also have visualization like Pareto chart is one of the most important tools if you go for quality improvement. We have also the bubble, plot, histogram. And then if you are go for the product development and quality control, we have a CPCPK, we have a lot of type of control chart. And then if you go for reliability improvement, we also offer for that function. And then we also have multivariate analysis like classification or segmentation. So you can do PCA, principal component analysis, or factor analysis. And then if you go for the business analytics, we have a time series model like ARIMA. And then also we have a matrices plot. And we have many more. As we know, Minitab are leading software for quality improvement. So we map our tools into DMAIC philosophy. So this one is a D is of your define, M is a measurement, and A is analyzing, I improvement, and C is for control. So basically most of the tools can map to the DMAIC concept. Okay, our customer coming from various type of industry, include services and manufacturing. Okay, so quality initiative is a business strategy with a structured methodology to deliver good services or product to the customer. Quality initiatives have been successfully deployed in the various industry whether manufacturing or services, over the past 30 years. In the service industry, it's a challenging in terms of quality measurement because of deal with the intangible product and direct involvement of the customer when service is delivered. So most of the data measurement in service industry more to qualitative or attribute data, which is yes or no, accept, not accept, okay, or most of them always using Likert scale like strong, not strong, medium, strong, okay, satisfaction, unsatisfaction. So some of the example of the services industry include banking, hotel, education, healthcare, social work, and computer sciences. Okay, so our agenda today, because we have a 1 hour, hopefully we can cover all these things. So first thing, we go for the graphical, but today we focus on the checkered bar and the Pareto chart. After that, we go to Chisquare to assess the relationship, okay, and then we go for the measurement system analysis for attribute agreement analysis, and then we go for the control chart, and then we using for NP chart. So hopefully we can cover all these things for today's session. Okay, so for the graphical analysis, Minitab offer customization of graph on the graph menu or analysis specific graph on the start menu and built-in stuff or graph in many statistical analysis. For the new version, 19 graph embedded into the output pane. So before this, 18, 17, 16, graph have own window, but now for the new version, graph embedded in the output pane. So after this, I will show. Okay, and then basically graph in Minitab offer based on your objective. For example, if you want go for the distribution, you can go for the histogram, box plot, Pareto chart, bar chart. If you go, your objective is over the time, so you can go for the time series or control chart. And if let's say your chart or your graph for relationship, maybe you can go for the scatter plot or you can go for the main effect plot. Okay, so for example here, a quality team noticed a high frequency of mistake on shipping invoice. To gain approval for a quality initiative, the team wants to analyze the type of mistake, the frequency of occurrences, and the people entering the invoice. Okay, so for this data set, we have 5 variables, which is a date the invoice is completed. We have a person, the person who will fill out the invoice, and then reason, code is an internal code for the type of mistake, and then we have a mistake, type of mistake, and then we have a day. So I go to the data set. Okay, so invoice mistake. Okay, basically for the new version, we call it that one is the single document interface. So old version, we call it multiple document interface. For the new version, once you open the Minitab file, so you can get only one single interface. For example, here is a navigator. It looks like project management before this. And then worksheet still, we call it worksheet. But in worksheet, we have enhanced from old version to new version. Okay, if let's say you go for this worksheet, so it's similar to the Excel. So let's say you want to add the new worksheet, so you just click here, and then we have a session window. So if let's say you want to go for the session window only, so you can go. But now for the new version, we call it output pane. Okay. So based on that case study, we have 5 variables here. Okay, we have 5 variable here. Okay, we have a date here. Okay, date, we have a T here is a text, and then nothing appear D or T, so this variable we consider that, and that one is the numerical. Okay, so we have a date, person, reason code, we have mistake, and the day. So for this case study, we want to show how graphical can identify or analyze our data. Okay, so the first we go for the bar chart. Okay, so how? Go to graph, go to bar chart. Okay, in the bar chart dialog box, we have a count of unit values, we have function or value from the table. So for this case, because the data is text data, so we go for the count of the mistake. Okay, so how I will do? Go to graph, go to bar chart. Okay, count of unit value, and then we choose the stack, and then you click OK. Okay, in this dialog box, okay, so we choose day and mistake. Okay, so click OK. Okay, so now we have a chart. Okay, stacked bar chart, mistake versus day. Okay, so I will do, go to graph, go to bar chart, choose count of unit value, and then choose stack, click OK, and then you choose this data and then click OK, so you get this chart. Okay, so go back to this one. Okay, so because we have a lot of variables, so we can do analyze another one. If let's say you want to create the same analysis, okay, so you just go for the dialog box. Okay, go to the dialog box, and then now we want to do the stacked bar chart also, but person versus mistake. Okay, person versus mistake, and then click OK. Okay, you get the new stacked bar chart, person versus mistake. For the new version, actually you can split the view. Okay, so go for the second chart and then right click, so you open in the split view. Okay, so if let's say you want to go for the third view, so the same step, go for another chart and then right click, choose the split in view. Okay, so for example here, so based on this example, so if let's say, as we know, bar chart is for distribution. Okay, so let's say you go for the day here, it's not have any extreme distribution. The length of the bar looks same. If let's say we go for the mistake by person, something have a something variation or for this chart. So for example, here is bigger, okay, rather than this person B, also person C. So based on this, we need to further our analysis, focus on person by mistake. Okay, so go back to this worksheet. Okay, so since mistake by person have the large variation, so we proceed analysis with Pareto chart. Okay, as we know, Pareto chart is a basic quality to help you identify the most frequent or defect or complaints. So how to create the Pareto chart? So go to stat, go to quality tools, choose Pareto chart. Okay, I will do, go to stat, go to quality tools, Pareto chart. Okay, but for this round, I will using or show using assistant. So go to assistant, graphical analysis. Okay, for this kind, we want to using Pareto chart. You choose Pareto chart. Okay, So how I will do assisted graphical analysis Pareto chart. Okay, so here in dialog box, they ask you how you arrange your data in the worksheet. So for this data, we go for the each defect observation in separate row. So our aim is a mistake. So a defect, mistake, and then we want to grouping by the person, and then no need to do not combine, and then click OK. Okay. So I split view. So for this chart, okay, for this chart, so you get from this Pareto chart, we see that person A more to product mistake, okay, and then less address mistake. But for the person C, is more to address mistake, but less on the product mistake. Okay, so now we identify that have a something relationship between mistake and person. Okay, and so to prove that relationship, we need to further our analysis based by using Chisquare. Okay. Okay. So Chisquare is to determine whether two category occur data, okay, are associated when at least one of the variables has more than two levels. So for this case, Chisquare is looks like ANOVA or t-test, but now because our data is categorical, so mistake is categorical, which is we have address mistake, we have pricing mistake, we have product mistake. And then for the person, we have person A, person B, and person C. So that's why Chisquare, we choose Chisquare to assess the relationship between these two variables. Okay. So, but in Chisquare in Minitab, we have three types Chisquare in Minitab based on how many variables you have. Okay. For example, you have one variable, so you can go for the Chisquare goodness of fit test. If let's say you want to assess association between two variables, okay, in two variables, we doesn't know how many level in each variable. So for example, if you have a 2 by 2, so you go for the Chisquare test for association. If let's say you have a 2 by 3, means that two level in one variable, and other variable we have a 3 level. So we call it 2 by 3 or 3 by 4 or some more than 2. So you can be using cross tabulation and Chisquare. For that case, for our case here, because we want to assess our relationship between person and mistake, and then as we know, person we have a 3 level in the person A, person B, person C, and then for the mistake, we have product mistake, we have address mistake, we have pricing mistake, and then we have quality mistake. So that means both of the variables more than 2. So we need using cross tabulation and Chisquare. So how to do? So back to our data set again. Okay, so now our aim is to assess the relationship mistake with the person. Okay, so how? Go to stat, go to tables, and then choose cross tabulation and Chisquare. Okay, I will do go to stat, go to tables, go to cross tabulation and Chisquare. Okay, for the choose row here, we choose mistake. Okay, so if this one is a depends on you. For the column, we choose for the person. So basically, the number of column less than row. Okay, so go for the Chisquare. and then you choose Chi-square test, and then you choose expected cell counts, and then click OK, and then click OK. Okay, so you get the result. I will go back to stat, table, cross tabulation, and chi-square, because mistake have a 4 level, and then percent have a 3 level. So display count and go for the chi-square. You choose chi-square, you choose expected cell, and then click OK, and then click OK. So you get this. Okay, from this output, we go direct to chi-square test. So since p-value less than 0.05, so we consider that percent and mistake have a relationship. Okay, because p for both chi-square is less than 0.05. Okay, and then so since overall chi-square test show low p-value, low p-value, the type of mistake made is associated with the person who are complete the invoice. Okay, so based on this table, person A and C are highest contribution to the chi-square statistic. Person A made more product mistake and fewer address, and person C did the reverse. They have more address and then fewer on the product mistake than expected. So for this case, we can further we do analysis. The first, we go for the graphical analysis using the stacked bar, and then after that we go for the Pareto chart, and then the last part we go for the checking the association between two variables. Okay, we using chi-square. Okay. So next we go for the measurement system analysis, or MSA. Okay, basically MSA is structure procedure to assess the ability of measurement system like people, equipment, material, method, and environment to provide a reliable data. Okay, so after we know our objective using graphical summary maybe, okay, and then now we need to checking our process or our measurement, is it okay or not. And for this case, because the services our data more to attribute data, so the right tools for MSA is attribute agreement analysis, okay, to assess the consistency of responses within appraiser and between appraiser, and if appropriate, compare to respond with the reference of standard value. So our data can be binary, which is yes or no, accept, no, accept, okay, or nominal, and ordered category, which is low, high, medium, okay, or ordinal, ordered, okay, maybe 1, 2, 3, and 4. So basically, for the attribute data, we have binary data, we have nominal data, and then we have ordinal data. But for this time round, we using this example. So the example just only have a 2 level, which is binary. Okay. In MSA in Minitab, if let's say your data is variables, so you go for the gauge study, gauge R&R. Okay. Let's say your data is attribute, so you can go for the attribute agreement analysis. Okay. So for the example, a busy loan officer for a major financial institution process many applications each day. A team of 4 review, inspected each application and categorized it as approved and then rejected. Okay. So for this case, we have a 2 event. approved and rejected. And then the loan officer began noticed the inconsistency in approved application. So the bank decided to conduct an attribute agreement analysis on the application review. So for review, evaluate 30 application in random order. Okay, and then they repeat the evaluation in the 2 times. So data we're using is loan application. So we go directly to our data. It's a loan application. Okay. So basically we have 4 appraiser. We have a 30 application, and then they repeat 2 times. So total of the run is 240. Okay. So run order is 240. So for each appraiser, repeat 2 times. Okay. So total 240. Okay. So how to run the analysis for attribute agreement analysis in Minitab? So where go to start, most of the analysis in the start menu button. So go to start, go to quality tools, go to attribute agreement analysis. Okay. Or Minitab also offer if you want to create the attribute agreement analysis worksheet. Okay. For this time, we already have a worksheet. So we proceed with the attribute agreement analysis. So quality tools, attribute agreement analysis. So in dialog box, okay, you need to have attribute column here is our result. Okay, the sample test is a test item. Okay, the appraiser is appraiser, and then we have a standard here is a standard. Okay, and then you click OK. Okay, so they come up with the attribute agreement analysis. So I will do, go to start, go to quality tools, go to attribute agreement analysis, and then you complete this dialog box. Okay, for the attribute result, our sample is test item, appraiser is appraiser, and then the standard is standard, and then click OK. Okay, so you get this result. Okay, in this output, okay, easy for me to explain to you. So I go to this PowerPoint. Okay, so the first step we consider is the within appraiser. We consider that the one is consistent. So based on this graph, most consistent review is Jim, and the less consistent is Julia. So in Jim, almost 100%. Okay, Julia is almost 80%. Okay, and then for the correctness, which is appraiser versus the standard, Jim is the most correct evaluator, and Javier and Julia has less correct appraiser. So if let's say you want to go for the consistency, so you assess on the within appraiser. So if let's say you go for the correctness, so you assess on the appraiser versus standard. And then the second, you need to evaluate the consistency for each and between appraiser. So in the within appraiser. So in Jim is a highly consistent in giving the same review on the same question every time among other review. Okay. So if let's say you go here, okay, and then the kappa value of 0.53. Okay, between appraiser indicate that medium level of agreement from one appraiser to the next appraiser. Okay, so which is this. So if you want to further, you see this. Okay, the kappa value, which is based on AIAG 0.75. We consider the agreement is a good. Okay, less that is not good. Okay. The third step is we evaluate the correctness of each and all appraiser. Okay, the kappa value for Jim and Gia is over 0.75, which can indicate the acceptable agreement. Okay, so you go for here is Jill and Jim is over than 0.75. But the kappa value for Javier, okay, 0.4, and Julia is 0.5, are less than 0.75, which indicate the room for improvement. So from there, we can suggest Javier and Julia to gain the training, okay, to attend the training to enhance, okay. So for this attribute agreement analysis, so after we get the reliable data, okay, our operator in good measurement, so we go for control chart. Okay, control chart graphs that plot your process data in time order sequence. Understand the trend over time of variation occurring in process. In control chart, we can separate common causes variation from the special causes variation. And then control chart is easy to interpret visual analysis of the process stability. Okay, as we know in control chart, we have three lines, which is upper control limit, okay, and then lower control limit and the center limit. Okay, all this limit is from our process. Okay, so for the graph in Minitab, so the blue here, blue dot here, a process in control. If let's say the red color here, process is unusual, so means that the process is out of control. Okay, so this one is an attribute control chart in Minitab. So if you facet with the attribute data, so you need know what kind of data, is it defective or defect. Okay, defective is each item is classified into one or two categories, such as a pass or fail, or defective or non-defective. Okay, basically it's count the number of defect items and determine the proportion. For defect per unit, each item can have more than one defect or undesirable characteristic. So after you know your data is defective or defect, we go for how many subgroup size you have. So let's say your subgroup size you are larger. Okay, so you can go for the P chart diagnostic or U chart diagnostic. Okay, so let's say your subgroup size U smaller, so you go for the, and then your subgroup size U constant, so you go for the P chart. Let's say your subgroup size U smaller and variability not the same. Okay, so you can go for the NP chart. Okay, so let's say you go for the P chart diagnostic, but you facet with over dispersion or under dispersion, you using linear P. Okay, or same with the U chart. So if let's say your subgroup is constant, you go for the U chart. Okay, so if varying, you go for the C chart. So if let's say your data is over dispersion or under dispersion, you using linear U chart. Okay, so this attribute control chart in Minitab. We go for this example. Okay, the supervisor for our call center wants to evaluate the process for answering customer phone calls. The supervisor record the total number of incoming calls and the number of answered calls for 21 days. The supervisor create a NP chart to monitor the proportion of answered call. So the data set we're using is answered call. So I go to the data set, go here. Okay, so in data set, so they record until 21 days. Okay, this one is total call incoming, and then this one the answered call. So they want to evaluate this problem. So how? So go to stat, go to control chart, but now is attribute chart. So for this case, go back to the total number of each day is a different. And then our subgroup is not really larger. Okay, so go to stat, go to control chart, go to attribute chart, and then we choose NP chart. Okay, so here is answer. This one is a total call. Okay, I will do go to stat, go to control chart, go to attribute chart, choose NP chart. And then here is answered call. Here is a total call. And then click, go for the testing. So go for the test. So here I choose perform all the tests and then click OK. And then click OK. Okay, so you get the result. Okay, from there, from this control chart, the chart show on average 24% of call are answered. Okay, and then the process in control since all the subgroup in control limit. Okay, so this one is how they tackle the first. We go for the attribute. When we face it with the attribute data, we go for the graphical, Chisquare, Pareto chart, and then go for the Chisquare. After that, we go for the attribute agreement analysis, and then we go for the control chart. Okay. So from there, okay, from here, so we get. And then for information, because this line, our subgroup is not the same. So that's why the line is not the straight line. Okay. So any question?
The conference is no longer in listen-only mode.
Any question?
Yeah, the RWS inside and they get 25% off. So like yesterday I just found that. So I just signed up my person for it. Okay. And then
Any question?
For the membership. And then no, I remember.
No questions about.
So if have any questions, so you can type or press here, okay, at the panel. Any question? So if doesn't have any question, I go back to our agenda. Okay, our agenda. I think we cover all the tools. Okay, our agenda starting with the graphical, where the aim from the graphical, we want to know our main problem to our process, and then after that we go for the chi-square. After we identify the variables for each variables, so we need to identify the relationship for each variables. So if let's say have a relationship, so we need to go further, and then after we know the objective for our process improvement, so we need to check our measurement system to get the reliable data. After we checking and then we improve our measurement system, and then we realize that the one is not the special variation, and then after the process is in good, so you can using control chart to assess our process. Okay. So if doesn't have any question, rise up. So if let's say you want to try or upgrade our new version, so you can visit our website www.minitab.com or www.bizits.com, or you can contact us or email us to sales@bizits.com or minitab@bizits.com, and then you can follow us to get more tips and tricks on Minitab. 2019. So follow us by Facebook or link. Okay, Minitab Malaysia and Singapore. Then we have event end of this August in Kuala Lumpur, and then early of September in Singapore. We call it Inside event. Okay, so if doesn't have any question, I stop here. So thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you.